this next topic I want to get into is how can men set boundaries without overstepping? Because I think some men do struggle in that aspect. They want to set boundaries, but then again, we don't want to come off looking like, we trying to force y'all. Like, you know what I mean? Okay, for example, if, I don't like how you speak to me in a certain tone, right? I might tell you, like, listen, how you talk to me is disrespectful. And you might look back at it as, well, you're trying to control me or you're trying to dictate my tone towards you. And I'm just trying to set a boundary. I don't want to have that disrespectful tone towards me that I'm letting you know. But now it comes off like, okay, you're trying to control my act. You don't want me to speak up, but I'm a woman. You don't want me to speak up. You just want me to be quiet. And no, that's not what I'm saying. I just want you to talk to me in a respectful tone. Like, you get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So do y'all see, how can men establish those type of boundaries within a dynamic of a relationship without overstepping necessarily?
You just communicate like you just did. I think that's like men that I've dated, oftentimes they shut down.
Right.
And so they don't communicate at all because they have a hard time understanding how they're feeling. And so sometimes, like, again, like, we can be each other's biggest trigger. If I'm talking to you like how your mom used to talk to you and she used to make you feel like that, and you're not expressing that to me, you're just shutting down, you're just ignoring me for weeks or months, and you're just like, and then you try to, you know what I mean? When things settle down, you're like, hey, let's communicate. And that's not healthy. So I think understanding yourself first is a big one, but oftentimes Black men won't center themselves enough to understand themselves because they're oftentimes like geared towards focusing on other people and their value is outside of themselves. And so if you don't understand yourself and how you're feeling and your emotions and shame and tone and everything that you just communicated, a lot of people have a hard time communicating that.
Right.
But if you can communicate that in a healthy way, I don't see why that's not within itself setting a boundary.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I know a big one we had on the show was should your boyfriend or husband have a say in what you wear outside, right? And a lot of women say no, not at all, right?
I don't mind that.
You say y'all don't mind?
I don't mind.
No. See, and that's actually my point. I hate to take the mic from you for just a second, but I think that we are making like sweeping indictments of whole people, like billions of people based on 3 or 4 clips off of YouTube or Instagram. Back to your point in regards to the lack of support, the women that I know, if they found out that their partner lost their job, they're like, oh my God, baby, let me draw you a bath, let me make you something to eat. And then after that, we're going to fix up your resume and we're both applying on your behalf and we're going to figure it out. So I'm not negating that you've heard this, but I don't think that really reflects the majority. I don't think that I think the majority of women who love the partner that they have, which I assume if you're with your partner, you love them, are gonna be like, baby, what you think? You like this? Baby, I think it's all right, so I'm gonna pull out something else.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about what we see in clips and pieces here and there, then you may see that reflected. But I think most women are really okay with their partner having a say.
I want him to.
I'm seeing clips. This is people on the show. And then women in the comments saying, yeah, they can't tell me what to wear outside.
It's a couple of things. I will say this, right? I've had delivery makes a difference. I want to compartmentalize this a little bit.
Okay.
When a woman is in love,
right,
a guy wouldn't have to do so much. Right? So consider this. If you're a gentleman and you're making a comment that is natural to you and she's rebuttaling, she's giving you a hard time, consider the possibility that she may not love you. Period. Very simple. Because in a space of love, in that motion of love, it's very hard to resist giving somebody something that they're asking for, provided that you're healthy and they're healthy. There are controlling men, there are controlling women out there, right? And sometimes when a man is indeed controlling, and not that he's doing a controlling behavior or act, but rather that his personality is controlling, you will more than likely incite someone rebelling, because the natural human order is resistance to change. So when a woman is saying you have a say, like myself, Allison, and ladies that are joining the couch with me are saying I would do that, there's nothing that you're changing in us, because it already lives inside of us to go ahead and give it. So if he's asking, he's not controlling anything. It's already there. So a man who's causing, who wants to cause a woman to do something, more than likely met her a certain way, and it was fine when we were dating. It was fine for me to dress like that when we were dating. Now you want to control it, that it would be control,
right?
Because that's not in me to dress like I'm Susie. I'm Susie Homemaker. My MO is Kim Kardashian. I want to dress like her, and now you don't want me to dress like her.
the clothing isn't the issue.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not the root cause.
Yeah.
There's someone who is trying to be controlling. There's
Right.
someone who's afraid of being controlled. And it's also a lack of trust.
Mhm.
If my husband saw me in an outfit and said, I don't think that's a good idea, I trust that he knows what he's talking about.
Exactly.
Something's off. You know, your breasts ain't looking too breasty right now. Your stomach is sticking out. You're not going to like the photos that come out, or that color is not what's best to complement your eyes. Or he is saying this because he wants me to win. He wants what's in my best interest. Yeah. So the question really is, or do you really love this person? Do you really trust that they want what's best for you over the outfit in itself? It's not about the outfit.
Exactly. Yeah. And I also wanted to touch on the boundary piece, because I just wanted to see what other people thought. But one of the things that people get are mistaken when it comes to boundaries is when a man is holding boundaries, a woman is holding boundaries, you're not holding a boundary for someone else. That boundary belongs to you. You own it, all of it, including the consequences thereafter. So if you have a hard boundary around the way that a woman speaks to you, it's your responsibility first to convey what you need. So in other words, saying, I don't like when you speak to me like that will not suffice, because what is that? I do not like it when you're speaking over me. When I'm in the middle of my thought, I want to be able to fully express myself before you cut me off. And if I'm going on too long, I would appreciate that you put up a finger or say something, or we could use a code word when I'm going on too long so that you can make your point. But I need to get this out. And if she fails to consistently do that, you will let her know, babe, I love you. I find that I'm trying to express myself. You're not hearing me. If you cut me off again, I'm going to leave this conversation because we're obviously heated, and we'll come back and revisit this in 20 minutes. So whoever is going to name the boundary, it's not enough to just state it, make a demand. That's a demand, right? That's beyond a request, right? You're making a demand. You want a boundary, you're making the request of the person, but it's a demand on your own life. I need this boundary for me because it helps me to remain regulated and helps me to stay in the character and the position that I want to be in. So the way that a man can learn how to maintain and establish boundaries is to first have a clear-cut understanding of what boundaries really mean for him. That means before you ever state it, right? There's a process to boundary creation, which is the forethought about it, like being able to conceptualize what really triggers me, what really bothers me, what do I need in place to keep this trigger from spiraling out of control, and what gets to happen if somebody betrays my boundary over and over again, even though I've reinforced it, and which is to exit.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
In the conversation, do you think that allowing the person to finish what they're saying is more of a respect thing? Like, I respect you enough to listen to what you're saying before I respond?
The listening to comprehend versus the listening to respond is an issue. Both black men and black, just women and men in general just have a hard time. We're waiting to hear that word, and then we just jump in, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like double dutch, motherfuckers. Just, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, instead of letting me hear out, because you cut me halfway off. So if you cut me halfway off, it can sound offensive. But if you let me finish, okay, I understand where you was coming from.
So honestly, it's not actually. So when we're bantering, right? Like, let's say we're not recording, and let's say we all at a restaurant, we just chit-chatting. Do you really think we care if we cut each other off? No, because we all talking and chopping it up. We're having a really good time.
I still do care.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, a lot of
most people.
I get what you're saying, though.
Yeah, but I don't mean it like in a disrespectful way. I'm just mean like somebody makes a joke or whatever. We all we're all contributing to the conversation.
But that's a different level of conversation, though.
Exactly. In a conversation where we're having something more serious, now we're talking about emotional regulation. So it's what's happening internally is something that we have to think about what is causing the emotional regulation to come off kilter. And what normally happens is it's not necessarily that we're answering to just respond. What happens is that someone said something and they've attacked someone's character, they've attacked their truth. And so they're coming to actually not just respond, they're coming to defend.
I want to stand up for the people that interrupt, because I sometimes do that. And the reason why is because sometimes people will make 10 points in one whiff of, a conversation. And I'm like, whoa, let's back up to your first point. Like you said, I felt attacked, a little disrespected. I need to address that. You're about to go to a whole other point and change the conversation, and let's address that. You know what I'm saying?
But I don't think that's interrupting, though, because if you making 10 points, by the time you finish what you're saying, I'll remember what point 2 and 3 was. So I think you should make a point. All right, let's talk about this, and then move on to what else is your grievance. You know what I mean?
I think sometimes that can be, like you said, it is triggering. But again, sometimes when we get into these conversations, women are much more emotional. You know what I mean? So they might interpret something as, you know, oh, wow, I'm in my feelings right now. It's that time of the month right now, or whatever the case is. So I might look at it as an attack when it really was never an attack to begin with. Like, you get what I'm saying? So now I have to negate how you felt to what I said instead of you just listening to comprehend to what I said. Like, now you made me feel a certain way. Now you negated everything I just said because you felt a certain way. And I'm like, that's not the point I'm trying to get at. You get what I'm saying?
My guy Troy said that in one of his clips. I remember he said the exact same thing, something similar, which is that if I'm expressing myself to my wife, or I don't think he was talking about his wife in this case, but he was just giving a generalization, and then she gets offended, now I can't really talk about what I was originally talking about. Now I have to cater to your emotions and feelings. What would you guys, I know that I'm not supposed to be interviewing you out, but I'm just curious, what would you guys prefer a woman do?
In that situation?
Say I'm not in the right emotional to handle this conversation. Maybe we can have it later on when I'm feeling
like what you said about coming back to the conversation, letting both people just either cool off, you know what I mean? Because in the heat of the moment, people just say something that they just want to get across. Oh, I just want to make you feel bad, or I just want to say this because I know it's going to get to you. Whatever the case is, like, let's just revisit this conversation. Like, you know
so you wouldn't feel like every time it's her turn, she wants to stop the conversation?
Huh?
Every time it's her turn? What do you mean?
So like you wouldn't, if she says, hey, I need a beat, would you think that you might feel like, okay, every time I'm talking to you about something that you're doing, when it's your turn, when you the bad guy, now you need a break. But when it's my turn and I'm doing something that bothers you, you got to talk about it right now.
But see, that's where the emotional intelligence come in. You got to be able to give what you want. You know what I mean? So if you need time when you arguing, and I say I need time this time, you should be able to understand that because you need the same thing when it's your turn.
I think, you know, segueing into this, you know what I mean? This is why he the co-host. Like, you know, we always hear this term emotional intelligence, right? And I don't, you know, that's like one of the terms that I think we need to leave in 2023 as we go into 2023.
You think so? Well, I like that.
Because it's like the word narcissist. Motherfuckers just saying this shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Nobody really knows
my God.
what it is abused. Like, you know what I'm saying? So